Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my guide to Alexander Midas Floor 1 on the Savage difficulty. To unlock this fight, you must first clear Midas, all of it, on the normal difficulty, and unlock Savage from the Wandering Minstrel in Mordona. I recommend a minimum item level of 210 to enter, but use of Sephiroth weapons, Midas normal, crafted gear, anything above this minimum will help a lot. This floor consists of one mini-boss and one primary boss. To skip to a specific boss or a specific phase on the primary boss, please use the annotations in the top left hand of the video. This guide also assumes you have basic knowledge of the normal mode version of this encounter. Upon entering the Fist of the Sun on Savage, you will be greeted by the same double Fausts from normal. Have each tank grab one and kill both of these Fausts. Use minimal cooldowns, but ensure to kill them within about 50 to 60 seconds. As you are about to kill them, have everyone move closer to the north side of the arena. When the second Faust dies, or 50 to 60 seconds pass, Hummel Faust will come crashing down. Move away from his impact point to reduce the damage his arrival does. If any Fausts are alive when he comes, he will tether them, and that fight's pretty much over. For Hummel Faust himself, you have about 70 seconds to kill him before he wipes the group, so pop all of your big cooldowns on him. Tank should rotate cooldowns during his cleave spam, and on the second and third set you can use super cooldowns like Hallowed Ground, Living Dead, or Holmgang to ensure your tanks can stay in their DPS stances to help finish him more quickly. When he uses Panzerschreck for the fourth time, it will wipe the group, so move quick on this. After killing Hummel Faust, you will have the remaining time in the instance to kill Rat Fink's Twinkle Dinks. On Savage, Rat Finks retains many of his normal mode moves, but adds in 2 more Gob Elixirs, deals a ton more damage, and has some new tricks up his little Gobby sleeve. Please note the positions of our A, B, and C markers on the map. For the final unmarked position in the southwest corner of the room, we will refer to this as D for the sake of the guide. Additionally, we assign one of our healers, or range DPS, to be responsible for triggering the Gob Elixir samples to spawn on the tether in the center of the room. In Savage, this tether will deal 2500 damage per second. Expect to stay in the tether for 3 ticks to give people ample time to grab elixirs, so that's 7500 damage that needs to be accounted for. Upon engaging the fight, Ratfinks will enlarge himself just like in normal, causing him to take reduced damage and begin applying the same stacking debuff on the main tank as he does in the normal mode version of the encounter. When it hits its 4th stack, it will give them a concussion. As the 4th stack is coming out, your off-tank needs to provoke and take aggro for the impending tank mechanic. It will either be a giant split damage AoE on the boss's current aggro target, AoE mitigation helps with this, or a big cleave that knocks back the current tank, which you should mitigate. Keep in mind that if you push Ratfinks to 92 to 91%-ish, sometimes he skips his tank buster altogether. He will then mark a random DPS with a prey marker. The current tank should drag him to the northwest side of the room as soon as the tank buster mechanic is over or you notice the prey marker. This is where we have our A marker for reference. The prey marked player should run to the northeast corner of the room. Ratfinks will charge at the marked target and deal damage based on how close his target is to him. If you're too close, it'll just kill you instantly. If his target takes any damage, they will get enervation, which causes them to take greatly increased damage. Add low or stone skin whichever target is marked and ensure not to stand between the boss and his marked target, lest you be gob-wrecked when he charges. When the boss hits 89%, he will shrink back down to normal size. If you push the boss to 89% before he uses prey, you can skip it entirely. When Ratfinks goes small again, he will cast 2 Glup Gloops, they act just like they did in normal, which should be dropped away from the party. The first one can be dropped anywhere away, but try to avoid dropping the second one near the northern syringe, as you'll need it very soon. After the second Glup Gloop, 2 snake adds will spawn, one in the northeast corner of the room, one in the southeast corner. The DPS should immediately burst down the northeast one while the off-tank goes and attends to the southeast one. When they go to cast Steel Scales, be sure to stun it as it makes the snake hit quite a bit harder, which is important for this next mechanic. The off-tank should stun the southeast one and then bring it to the group immediately. These snakes will start spitting coagulates at the group, giving them a coagulate debuff that stacks every few seconds or whenever you're hit by the attack. This is a pretty potent dot. This dot also gets stronger the more stacks that it generates, so as soon as both snakes are dead, have your assigned Gob Elixir player turn on the syringes. The North Syringe, which is new to Savage, is used to cleanse the coagulate stacks you get from the snakes, so cleanse yourself inside of it. Keep in mind that he will occasionally do shock therapy of room-wide AoE during this phase. Shortly after the snakes die, Ratfinks will do bombs away. This acts just like it did in normal mode, but there's one extra type of bomb that is present in the mechanic. We assign one of our healers to become the gorilla from the red elixir and knock the round bombs into a corner. Now this new type of bomb is a spiked bomb. This bomb basically acts like an old school Bomberman bomb. It blows up in an X or cross pattern, whichever you prefer to call it. You'll want to identify which corner of the room this bomb drops in and immediately move all of your party members to the opposite corner of the room. Have the gorilla player knock the normal bombs into the same corner as the spiked bomb to ensure safety. After this, Finks will become giant again. When he becomes giant again, he will immediately begin casting boost before slamming the ground 4 times in a row, just like in normal mode. Get the purple elixir to the west to turn into a bird to avoid the damage. At the same time, 4 bombs will drop one at a time in a line across the room. The first bomb will drop in one of the 4 corners. Identify where this bomb is located and quickly move to the bomb right next to it. As soon as that bomb explodes in the corner, move into that corner that just freed up in order to avoid the damage from the other bombs. Immediately untransform after the 4th AoE to get ready for the next mechanic. Finks will do another prey marker, which we always assign to move to the clockwise corner of the room from where you currently are. After this charge, however, the boss will begin casting a 180-degree AoE called Gob Hook on a random party member, killing anyone he hits. This means the party needs to follow the boss to his charge location and move behind whatever direction he faces when he casts the ability. After this, he will do another set of concussion stacks before turning small again. When he becomes small again, he will immediately summon a Groper ad that tethers to a random DPS. This will force them to be the ad's attack target unless they cleanse this tether by stepping into the blue Gob Elixir, the other new Gob Elixir in Savage mode. This is on the south side of the room, so activate it and have your off tank quickly generate enmity on the ad. Focus it down before moving back to Finks. Finks will cast one more Gloop Gloop before doing a new bombs away pattern. This time, a spiked bomb will drop in the corner of the room again. However, the way you respond to it is much different. Get near the center of the room without touching the middle, and then after this first spiked bomb explodes, move into the corner that it frees up. A second spiked bomb will spawn on the opposite corner of the room, so have your gorilla knock the round bombs into the second spiked bomb's corner. After this, Finks will spam Shock Therapy 4 times in a row before going big again. Once again, he will begin charging boost immediately and drop a new bomb pattern while you are all birds again. This time he will drop 3 spiked bombs, leaving a safe spot open that you'll have to identify. Here are a few example diagrams to help you figure out some of the possible patterns. Once you identify the safe area, have everyone move to it and wait for the 4th AoE to end before leaving bird form. The next mechanic will see 2 preys and the split damage mechanic. For the split damage, just stack as always. However, the first prey marker we send clockwise again, but the second prey marker there are a few ways to handle it. Some people send the second prey counterclockwise to the boss's location where you have him currently, and some people just have the second prey basically just stand in the same corner you were fighting the boss and just have everyone not get hit by the charge. Ideally, you want the second prey to be located at the B marker no matter what, but depending on bomb RNG this isn't always possible. As you see, I had the first prey here and I had to go to the B marker, so it wasn't possible in this scenario. So just pick whichever method works best for you. Get behind him when he goes for the Gob Hook again. He'll do another concussion mechanic, after which if he isn't already in the B corner of the room, your tank should drag him there before he goes small again. In this small phase, tons of ads are going to spawn from all 4 corners of the room. At the A marker, a Minotaur will spawn initially, that your off tank should pick up and treat like your standard ogre mob. Keep them tanked at A. In the B marked corner, several Yorn pigs will spawn, which, if they get near the Minotaur, he will consume, which is pretty much a wipe. The 2 Gobgawkers will also spawn at the C and D markers. These guys throw bombs and have a nasty conal petrified gaze that they will use on the party. As soon as the main tank, who is again at B when this phase begins, picks up the Yorn pigs, they should begin moving the pigs plus the boss to the C corner of the room where a Gobgawker has just spawned. Ensure to avoid looking at the Gobgawkers when they begin using their gaze attack. Pretty much just stare at a wall the whole time. At some point during all of this, have a caster DPS use the Mage LB3 to hit the 2 Gobgawkers, the boss, and the Yorn pigs, killing all of them, other than the boss of course. Don't worry about hitting the Minotaur, we'll deal with him in a second. Now if you don't have a caster DPS, you'll probably just use the melee LB3 on the boss or one of the adds. Just make sure you kill the Gobgawkers and the Yorn Pigs. Now as your gear increases more, you may run into an issue where you don't have the caster LB3 here. Technically in this case, the best use would be a caster LB2 on the Yorn Pigs plus the Gobgawker in the C corner. Keep in mind that this means you will have to go out of your way to DPS the Gobgawker at D, unless you're lucky and he actually moves all the way over. These guys can be pretty stingy about doing that. Either way, just handle it with the LB, this is going to be the spot to use it most likely. After the boss is moved to C, make sure that the Minotaur tank moves his add to B, where a snake add will spawn. When the Minotaur consumes the snake, he dies, removing him as a threat from the fight. At the same time, more Yorn Pigs will also spawn at A, so they're just going to run towards your healers, and your DPS just need to kill them when they get there. Remember, those Yorn Pigs are spawning where the Minotaur was, so if you don't move the Minotaur fast enough, those Yorn Pigs will spawn, and he will eat them. After all the adds are dead, some people may notice that their stacking Gobbelixer debuff is close to running out. This debuff was pretty much a non-factor on normal, but in Savage, if the stacks reach 11, or if the stacks wear off, they will inflict a massively powerful dot on the affected player. So, after all the adds are dead, you just want to spawn the blue Gobbelixer in the south side of the room, and just have everyone take a quick dip in it to ensure the debuff doesn't fall off. The boss will then spam 4 more Shock Therapy AoEs before summoning its final add, a Glassy-Eyed Shabti. This add hits super hard, so have your off tank pick it up and face it away from the group and the main tank. Ensure you have a cooldown up at all times while killing it as a tank. This includes the best use most likely for Hallowed Ground, Holmgang, or Living Dead, if you didn't need to use them in a panic before. Just burst this add down ASAP. Right as the add spawns, Ratfinks will go big one final time in the fight and begin stacking Concussion on the main tank. You'll need to kill this add before the main tank gets all 4 stacks of Concussion so the off tank can do the tank mechanic properly. Right after the tank mechanic, Ratfinks will go small again. At this point, Ratfinks pretty much just summons another Gobbledy Groper, which needs to be handled by the blue elixir again. If the boss is almost dead, you can just finish Ratfinks after the off tank gets the add. At this point you are pretty close to enrage. We had a bomb pattern spawn just like the second bombs away that will begin dropping after another Glup Gloop, during which point the boss will likely begin spamming Shock Therapy. In our experience, the second Shock Therapy did 100,000 damage, but it may depend on how long the boss remained in his giant form. Just focus on dealing damage while moving him between the corners, when with some lore gear and Ceph weapons you can kill him before even reaching this phase, especially way before enrage. And that's a wrap for Alexander Midas Floor 1 on the Savage difficulty. This raid drops item level 240 rings and other accessories, including the belt, so hopefully you get a ring like I did. Also, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share for more information, and don't forget there is that document in the description of the video if you would like all the diagrams that I used for this guide in some sort of written document. Anyway, thank you again for watching, I'll see you on the lookout for the next floor, and until then, take care.